The gilded chandeliers of the Burj Al Arab's exclusive ballroom cast a cold, metallic light on the assembled crowd. Tonight was no ordinary evening in Dubai. It was a clandestine auction where human lives were reduced to commodities and hope hung by the thinnest of threads. Amina Okeke stood motionless, her dark eyes fixed on a distant point beyond the opulent marble walls. At 28, she carried the weight of generations, the unspoken struggles of her family, the dreams crushed by poverty, and the relentless hope that had sustained her through impossible odds. She remembered the small mud brick house in rural Nigeria where she grew up. Her father, a subsistence farmer, had worked from dawn to dusk, his weathered hands telling stories of endless struggle against unforgiving land and economic desperation. Her mother, a seamstress who mended clothes for neighboring villages, had sold her own jewelry to keep Amina in school, believing education was the only escape from generational poverty. The auction house was a stark contrast to her humble origins. Wealthy men in tailored suits and traditional Arab robes sat in hushed conversation, their eyes periodically scanning the lineup of human beings, each a potential investment, a resource to be traded. Amina's mind drifted to her younger siblings, her brother struggling to finish secondary school, her sister battling a chronic illness that their family could barely afford to treat. She had left home with a promise to find a way out, to break the cycle of poverty that had chained her family for generations. But this was not the path she had imagined. The auctioneer, a portly man with calculating eyes, stepped forward. His voice echoed through the room, clinical and detached. Lot 17. Amina Okeke, 28 years old, university education. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Amina remained stoic, her face a mask of controlled emotion. She had learned early that survival meant revealing nothing, showing no weakness. Each bid was a blow, a reduction of her entire existence to a monetary value. $500,000 called a voice from the back. $750,000 responded another. The numbers climbed, a grotesque dance of wealth and human desperation. Amina knew the stakes. This was more than an auction, it was a potential lifeline for her family, a brutal transaction that might secure their future. When the final hammer fell at $1 million, she did not flinch. She did not cry. She simply waited, knowing that her real story was about to begin. The mysterious Arab executive who had purchased her watched intently, his dark eyes revealing nothing, a blank canvas waiting to be painted with the unexpected truths that would soon unfold. The village of Umuahia, nestled in Abia State, was a tapestry of survival and resilience. Here, amid red clay paths and corrugated iron roofs, Amina Okeke's extraordinary journey began. Her father, Emmanuel Okeke, was a smallholder farmer who understood the mathematics of survival better than most economists. Each morning, before the sun cracked open the horizon, he would walk kilometers to tend his modest plot, a patchwork of cassava, yams and maize that represented their family's lifeline. Her mother, Kioma, was the true architect of their family's hope. A seamstress with nimble fingers and a sharp mind, she supplemented their meager income by mending clothes and creating intricate traditional garments for local celebrations. Her sewing machine, an old singer inherited from her own mother, was both a treasure and a symbol of their family's determination. From the moment Amina could understand words, her parents emphasized education as the sole escape from generational poverty. "Knowledge is the only inheritance I can give you," her father would say, his calloused hands gesturing emphatically during their evening discussions. School was not a simple journey. The local primary school was a single-room structure with cracked walls and limited resources. Textbooks were shared, often dog-eared and missing pages. But Amina's hunger for learning transformed these limitations into challenges to overcome. By age 10, she had distinguished herself as an exceptional student. While other children struggled with basic mathematics, Amina was solving complex problems using innovative mental calculations. Her teachers recognized her potential, often holding her up as an example to her classmates. Technology became her unexpected window to a broader world. An old donated computer in the school's makeshift library became her sanctuary. With limited internet access and sporadic electricity, she taught herself coding through downloaded tutorials and offline resources. Python, JavaScript, HTML, these were not just programming languages to her, but keys to unlocking potential. Her dream of becoming a tech entrepreneur crystallized during a regional science fair when she was 16. Using salvaged electronic parts, she created a simple water quality testing device designed for rural communities. The project didn't just win first prize, it demonstrated her capacity to transform local challenges into technological solutions. Financial constraints were a constant shadow. Her brother needed school fees. Her sister required medical treatment for a chronic respiratory condition. Each academic success was balanced against the family's immediate survival needs. University seemed an impossible dream. But Amina was not one to accept impossibility. She won a partial scholarship through a competitive national technology program, covering only tuition. Her family sold a portion of their land to cover her living expenses, a sacrifice that haunted and motivated her simultaneously. During her computer science degree, she worked nights as a tutor, coded freelance projects, and maintained a near-perfect academic record. Her professors saw in her not just a student, but a potential innovator who could bridge technological gaps in developing economies. Her final year project, a mobile application helping small-scale farmers optimize crop yields using minimal data, caught the attention of local tech incubators. It wasn't just an academic exercise, it was a love letter to her father's generation of farmers who had been overlooked by technological progress. But dreams, no matter how brilliantly conceived, require resources, and resources for Amina had always been in desperately short supply. Little did she know that her most extraordinary challenge and opportunity was about to unfold in the glittering auction halls of Dubai, where her entire life would be reduced to a number, and her true worth was yet to be determined. The auction room breathed with cold, calculated tension. Marble floors reflected crystal chandeliers, creating an illusion of infinite space that contrasted sharply with the confined humanity being traded within. Amina stood on the raised platform, her posture rigid, a deliberate shield against vulnerability. Around her, potential buyers examined her like a commodity, checking her physical condition, assessing her potential value. Their eyes were predatory, calculating, measuring her worth in dollars and potential utility. She had prepared herself mentally for this moment. Years of survival had taught her that emotional detachment was her strongest armor. Each gaze she met was a challenge, each whispered comment a battle she refused to lose. The auctioneer, a man with a razor-sharp suit and emotionless eyes, began the formal proceedings. Lot 17. Amina Okeke, 28 years old, multilingual. Advanced degree in computer science, fluent in English, French, and 3 Nigerian dialects. His clinical description reduced her entire existence to a list of marketable attributes. But Amina knew her true value existed beyond these superficial descriptors. In the third row, partially obscured by a pillar, sat Rashid Al-Mansour. Unlike the other buyers, his gaze was different, analytical yet not entirely predatory. Something in her demeanor had caught his attention. The bidding commenced. $250,000 called a heavy-set businessman from Dubai. $350,000 responded a Saudi investor. $500,000 countered another. With each bid, Amina's internal world oscillated between survival instinct and profound humiliation. This was not just a transaction, it was a brutal reflection of global inequalities, of systems that commodified human potential. Rashid remained silent, observing. His fingers, adorned with a single platinum ring, tapped slowly against his tailored thigh. When he finally spoke, his voice cut through the auction's ambient noise. $1 million. A stunned silence descended. The room's dynamics shifted instantaneously. The auctioneer's hammer fell with a sharp crack. Sold. In that moment, Amina's life transformed. She was no longer just Amina from a small Nigerian village, she was now $1 million acquisition, her fate hanging in the balance of a mysterious Arab executive's intentions. Her mind raced with survival strategies, potential escape routes, contingency plans. But beneath the calculated exterior, a storm of emotions threatened to break through: fear, anger, hope, and an unwavering determination to control her own narrative. Rashid Al-Mansour approached, his steps measured, his eyes holding a complexity that defied simple interpretation. Their first encounter would determine everything. Rashid Al-Mansour was not a typical billionaire. Born to a modest family in Riyadh, he had clawed his way through the technological landscape with a combination of ruthless intelligence and unexpected compassion. At 45, he controlled a tech empire that spanned continents. Al-Mansour Technologies was known for disruptive innovations in artificial intelligence and sustainable technology solutions. But beneath the corporate success lay a complex personal history. His mother, a schoolteacher from a conservative background, had fought relentlessly for her children's education. His father, a government clerk, had instilled in him a profound respect for intellectual potential regardless of social origins. These early lessons had shaped Rashid's worldview in ways few understood. The human trafficking auction was not a random event for him. For years, he had been collecting intelligence on global trafficking networks, building a comprehensive map of their operations. Tonight's auction was more than a transaction, it was a strategic infiltration. Amina was carefully selected. Her background, education, and potential matched a specific profile he had been searching for, though she did not yet know the true purpose of her purchase. When they first met privately, the tension was palpable. Rashid's suite in the Burj Al Arab was a study in understated luxury minimalist design, panoramic views of Dubai's skyline, and an atmosphere that felt more like a high-security research facility than a hotel room. Ms. Okay, he began, his Arabic accented English precise and controlled. What do you know about the network that brought you here? Amina's response was measured. Enough to know that survival requires strategic silence. A ghost of a smile crossed Rashid's face. She was not what the auction had portrayed, a passive commodity, but a calculated survivor. He revealed fragments of his plan. He needed someone with her specific technological skills, someone who could navigate both technological and cultural complexities. The trafficking network believed they were selling her. In reality, Rashid was executing a carefully orchestrated counterintelligence operation. Her background in coding, her understanding of rural technological challenges, her multilingual capabilities, these were not weaknesses. They were precisely the tools he required to dismantle an international criminal network that had operated with impunity for decades. Their first conversation was a complex dance of revelation and restraint, two individuals from vastly different worlds, united by an unexpected mission. Amina realized this was not a typical human trafficking scenario. Rashid was offering her something far more profound than rescue. He was offering her a chance to transform her pain into purpose. The unexpected connection had begun a partnership that would challenge everything they thought they knew about power, survival, and redemption. Rashid Al-Mansour was not a typical billionaire. Born to a modest family in Riyadh, he had clawed his way through the technological landscape with a combination of ruthless intelligence and unexpected compassion. At 45, he controlled a tech empire that spanned continents. Al-Mansour Technologies was known for disruptive innovations in artificial intelligence and sustainable technology solutions. But beneath the corporate success lay a complex personal history. His mother, a schoolteacher from a conservative background, had fought relentlessly for her children's education. His father, a government clerk, had instilled in him a profound respect for intellectual potential regardless of social origins. These early lessons had shaped Rashid's worldview in ways few understood. The human trafficking auction was not a random event for him. For years, he had been collecting intelligence on global trafficking networks, building a comprehensive map of their operations. Tonight's auction was more than a transaction, it was a strategic infiltration. Amina was carefully selected. Her background, education, and potential matched a specific profile he had been searching for, though she did not yet know the true purpose of her purchase. When they first met privately, the tension was palpable. Rashid's suite in the Burj Al Arab was a study in understated luxury minimalist design, panoramic views of Dubai's skyline, and an atmosphere that felt more like a high-security research facility than a hotel room. Ms. Okeke began, his Arabic accented English precise and controlled. What do you know about the network that brought you here? Amina's response was measured. Enough to know that survival requires strategic silence. A ghost of a smile crossed Rashid's face. She was not what the auction had portrayed, a passive commodity, but a calculated survivor. He revealed fragments of his plan. He needed someone with her specific technological skills, someone who could navigate both technological and cultural complexities. The trafficking network believed they were selling her. In reality, Rashid was executing a carefully orchestrated counterintelligence operation. The background in coding, her understanding of rural technological challenges, her multilingual capabilities, these were not weaknesses. They were precisely the tools he required to dismantle an international criminal network that had operated with impunity for decades. Their first conversation was a complex dance of revelation and restraint. Two individuals from vastly different worlds, united by an unexpected mission. Amina realized this was not a typical human trafficking scenario. Rashid was offering her something far more profound than rescue. He was offering her a chance to transform her pain into purpose. The unexpected connection had begun a partnership that would challenge everything they thought they knew about power, survival, and redemption. The next 6 months became a transformative journey that would rewrite both Amina's and Rashid's destinies. Rashid's legal team, comprised of international human rights lawyers and cybersecurity experts, meticulously constructed a case against the human trafficking network. Each piece of evidence was carefully documented, creating a comprehensive dossier that would ultimately lead to multiple international arrests. Amina's agricultural technology platform, now funded through Al Mansour Technologies, underwent rapid development. What had begun as a small prototype evolved into a comprehensive digital ecosystem supporting smallholder farmers across sub-Saharan Africa. The first pilot program launched in her home region of Abia State. Within months, local farmers saw unprecedented improvements. Crop yields increased by 47%, water usage optimization reduced agricultural costs by 35%, and real-time market pricing information empowered farmers to negotiate better rates. Her family was among the first beneficiaries. Her father's small farm transformed from a subsistence operation to a model of technological agriculture. Her chronically ill sister received proper medical treatment, funded by the initial technology investments. For Rashid, this was more than a philanthropic endeavor. It represented a profound personal transformation. The billionaire who had once viewed human potential through a transactional lens now understood the true value of human dignity and potential. The trafficking network's exposure became a global sensation. International law enforcement agencies, armed with Rashid's intelligence and Amina's technical documentation, dismantled multiple trafficking routes. What had begun as a single auction became the catalyst for comprehensive systemic change. Amina was offered multiple global speaking opportunities, sharing her journey from a potential trafficking victim to a technological innovator. Her story became a powerful narrative of resilience, challenging fundamental assumptions about victimhood and potential. By the end of the year, her technology platform had secured $10 million in additional venture capital, with major tech companies expressing interest in scaling her solutions across multiple continents. Rashid established a new investment fund specifically designed to support technological innovations from marginalized communities, with Amina as its primary advisor and strategic director. Their partnership transcended the initial transactional encounter. They had not just exposed a criminal network, they had created a blueprint for technological and social transformation. 5 years after that fateful night in Dubai, Amina Okeke stood on a global stage, her story a testament to human resilience and potential. The technology platform she developed had transformed over 500,000 agricultural communities across Africa. What began as a personal survival strategy had become a movement challenging systemic economic oppression. Rashid Al Mansour, once a distant billionaire, had become a critical ally in dismantling human trafficking networks. Their partnership revealed a fundamental truth: human dignity cannot be purchased, measured, or contained. The trafficking network they exposed led to international legal reforms. 17 major trafficking rings were dismantled, with over 2,000 individuals rescued and provided rehabilitation support. Amina's journey demonstrated that victimhood is not a permanent state, but a temporary circumstance. Her technological innovations proved that marginalized communities possess extraordinary potential when given appropriate resources and opportunities. For her parents in the small Nigerian village, her success represented more than personal achievement. It was a beacon of hope for an entire generation, evidence that education, resilience, and innovation could transform generational cycles of poverty. The $1 million auction that once threatened to define her became the launching point of a global movement. Amina's story was not just about individual triumph, but a powerful narrative of collective human potential. Her message was clear: every human carries inherent dignity. No system, no transaction, no external force can truly diminish individual worth. But in the end, the most valuable currency is not money, but human potential waiting to be understood, supported, and unleashed.